We all want to believe that our marriage is strong, but we don't really know how strong it is until it's tested. Now, before I explain how this all happened and what I learned from it, I need you to understand who my wife is, because that's very important. I don't want you guys running off with your own conclusions. I want to actually tell you who she is to the core. As soon as she was old enough to get a job, she immediately started paying for her own bills, her own phone bill, because she wanted independence. And when I met her, I was broke, college student, had no money, and she would pay for everything. And then when I graduated college, I was not lucky. I didn't get a great job. I was making like $30K, $28,800. And she got a great job right off the bat, making almost, I think, triple what I was making, or maybe almost triple and a half. She was there with me when I had absolutely nothing. Because I can hear it now, a lot of people thinking that, oh, she may be just in it for the money. Because when I explain the story, I can see how you might think that, but it's far from the case. I want to take this time to say thank you to our sponsor, Cobra Trading. Cobra Trading is the go-to broker for day traders and short sellers. And I'm not the only one saying this. In fact, Benzinga awarded Cobra Trading as the go-to broker for short selling. They have a heavy focus on direct market access order routing, so you have the fastest execution. They have some of the best locate prices and availability. They also have amazing customer service. I've experienced many different brokers, and it's why I use them every single day and why I'm proud to have them as our sponsor. Sign up now by clicking the Be The Trader referral link below and earn 1 free month of software with Cobra and 25% off all commissions. Now let's get back to the show. Before you leave your job, don't do what I did. I just left and then explained it to my wife. What you want to do is have a conversation with them and go into detail of how you're feeling about it, why you want to leave, and when you want to leave. The only good part that I had is she knew that I wanted to leave because I've been voicing that. But I never explained when, and I just surprised her with it. And that can be really bad because it breaks up the communication. And what I've learned from my marriage, and my marriage is not perfect, but communication is what's helped us stay together, and communication is what's helped us grow together and go through these hard times. Because when I left and surprised her with that, I did have money saved up. I had a year's worth of income to pay for bills. However, I didn't take into account what her vision was for our family. And that's something that you might not be thinking about right now. You might be thinking about your vision. I want to leave my job because I want to create this awesome company. For me, it was to become a successful day trader. For you, it might be starting a bakery, opening your own shoe company, clothing store, whatever it is. You have the vision that it will be successful one day. You don't know when, and you have a vision that all this hard work will eventually get you to prosperity and take your family to a whole nother level. But what about her vision? What about his vision? What about what they are thinking about for the future? I wasn't thinking that way at the time. I was thinking about our future from my perspective and not from their perspective. So I want you to know, like, you want to have open communication with your spouse, and you want to let them know, here's why I want to leave. Here's what I see for the future. I want to also know what you see for the future, because little did I know, she saw us continuing to grow as a couple financially, because at that time I had a great career. I was a partner at a small firm, and she was in IT at a big company, a well-known company. So we were killing it at the time financially. We were traveling, we bought our first home, and we were looking to, move out and buy another home. But in my eyes, at that time, I was like, we're living life, we're growing. We can stay where we are right now, press pause, not increase our home size, not increase the travel, and just be happy. And then eventually, with the hard work, will grow faster later. But in her vision, she saw us growing into a bigger family and getting a bigger house and traveling more with the family and exploring. And because we were on that track, right? If we stayed the corporate life, and that could easily happen. And because I didn't talk with her about her vision, I immediately just burned her entire vision instantaneously by letting her know I quit, without even giving her the time to at least share her thoughts and voice her opinions. That's super important because you want her on your side. You want your spouse on your side. You don't want them having a chip on their shoulder, want them thinking any type of negative way that you're only thinking about yourself. You want to be thinking about everyone. And I know that's why you're making decisions, because you're thinking about everyone, but you need them involved so they know you're thinking about everyone. Otherwise, you are indeed thinking selfishly. And this is what I was thinking. So communication is huge, because you want to communicate with them what you're thinking, and you want them to communicate with you what they're thinking, what their vision is. But then once you leave, you want to keep that communication open. I know you might be going through a dark time. Maybe you left your job already. Maybe you didn't communicate, maybe you did. And that's great if you did. But keep communicating, because you might be going through a dark time right now. I can tell you from personal experience, when I left my job, I made no money. And I lost a lot of money. But I kept that inside for a long time, especially the first year. And at the time, I thought I was doing a good job of hiding it and being happy in front of my spouse. But looking back, no, she could tell. I was easily angered. I was just constantly had anxiety, and I was just never in the moment. I was always worried about what I was worried about. How to make money, how to make ends meet. How am I gonna grow? How am I gonna go back to a job after I left? I was constantly thinking this all inside. And I can tell you, if you open up and talk with your spouse about it, it will make it so much easier, because there's empathy there. They're there for you. It gives them the opportunity to be your spouse and be there for you. Otherwise, you're not giving them that opportunity. You're going in it alone. You're married for a reason. You have a partner. Make sure you keep them involved. You're not protecting them by hiding it. Because when you hide it, then there's a trust issue, because they know, they can feel it, they can sense it. They know there's something happening. And if you don't share it, your trust starts to separate even more, because you don't trust them enough to share the information. And you just want them to trust you, that you got this, that I got it, that no worry, I got us. That's not fair, because you're telling them to trust you without even sharing anything. So that's something that I regret not doing at the beginning. The only reason I've learned from this is because I've quit my job 3 separate times. And over time, I've learned what I should do and what I shouldn't do. And I'm still learning that to this day. Another thing you want to make sure you do is constantly let them know when something new comes up that is causing you anxiety, fear, whatever it may be. And here's a great example that you might not be thinking about, because you might just be thinking about one thing, and that's money. Well, I've already told them I'm stressed about making money, or I'm stressed about making this job work. But what about the stress of feeling worthy enough? And what if you're curious about what I mean by that? Maybe you didn't go through this, and maybe you will one day. But for me, there was times where I felt like I was not worthy, not doing enough, not having value, not bringing any value to the marriage. Because in my head, growing up, I thought I needed to make money to bring the value. And that's something that you need to talk to your spouse about. And they may have that same vision as well. It may be that case, because a lot of us grew up in a similar way, where maybe there was a breadwinner and then there was a housekeeper, or they were both breadwinners. In any case, you need to talk to each other about this, because your spouse may have unspoken expectations of you. And it even might be unspoken expectations that they have no clue that they actually have until they go through it with you, going through this journey of leaving a job to pursue your dream. Because it's not easy. It's far from easy. To give you an example, my wife, when she grew up, her mom stayed at home to take care of the entire family, and her father worked and brought the money home. My father worked and my mom worked, but my dad was, for the most part, the breadwinner. So in my perspective, I had the vision of I needed to be the breadwinner. In her perspective, she had the vision from growing up that the man should eventually take care of the family. And that was just how we grew up. It doesn't make it right, wrong, it's just how you grow up. Because of that, little did we know, until you go through it, you will not get this. But there's gonna be a time where maybe you're not doing too hot. You're not making the money. You're losing money. You're losing every day. You're getting upset. You're stressed. And your spouse is watching you go through this. And there could be a time where if you don't open with them and talk about this together, and this requires your spouse too, they may start to visualize you different because they already have a vision of what should be from their history. And that's something that you will not know, and they won't even know. They might even question it themselves, like, why do I feel this way? Like, I know I shouldn't, because I know I need to be with my spouse through this, but why do I feel this way? And it's your job, because you're watching this, to talk with them, to open up, to tell them that what you're afraid of, to tell them what you're feeling. Because if you do not, then it could lead down the road that we don't want to go down. And I know you know what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not just pulling this out of the air and I created this myself because I just was smart enough to learn it while I was going through it. That was far from the case. We went to counseling. We spoke with a third party. That helped us open up even more. So don't be afraid to get help. Don't be afraid to find help, because this is going to be the hardest journey of your life. Now, to make it shiny and hopeful at the end, we fast forward to the day and we're extremely happy. We still go through times, but we communicate. Like, all of that journey have taught us to communicate, to constantly communicate. So if I'm going through a hard trading day, I'll communicate with her. I don't feel too good. I feel like I'm getting in my head. If you're having a hard business day today, communicate that with them and let them know that constant communication is so important. Not only when you're going through it, but after, when you're on the other side and things are getting better, you still need to keep that communication. A huge benefit that I wasn't aware of that generates from involving your spouse through this entire journey, they will start to pick up on signals that you are not aware of. There's a lot of times when I'm going throughout my day or my week and my wife can tell that I'm having a shitty day trading or the day before. And she'll make a suggestion like, you might want to take the day off. And the days that I ignore that are the days that I have my biggest losses or the most frustration. Because they'll pick up body language, they'll pick up signals, they'll pick up things over time that you're not paying attention to because you're not watching yourself 24/7. You don't see your habits and how they slightly change. But they do. So keeping them involved is also a huge positive for you, not only because it's going to make you happier in the long run, help you guys grow together, help you guys stay together, but because it's also going to help you have someone be a guide for you to help you see things that may not be clear to you. There's times when I'm trading and I know I'm frustrated, but until my wife comes and says, hey, like, you might want to take the day off, like that extra, hey, I'm noticing this about you, helps me push forward and take that day off. Because as an entrepreneur, whether you start a company, you don't want to take a day off, because what are you thinking about? You're thinking about, I want to grow. I want to succeed. I need to do this, or they'll forget about my business, or my business will fail, or at any moment my business can go away. Because that's true. Whether it's day trading or you're another company, it can all go away tomorrow. You can lose everything tomorrow. Another thing I want you guys to know is if you're gonna take this journey, you wanna let them know how important it is to you. And you might wanna sit down with yourself and really answer the question, is this the most important thing for you, where you will continue to do it? Because if you do not, you will be unhappy. That's something that you need to answer, because if you're not happy with what you're doing, then you can't be happy with everyone else around you, because you're thinking about what you should do, I should be doing. I don't want to be doing X, I should be doing Y. That's very important. Like, I knew I wouldn't be happy doing anything else unless I tried to do this and go after it and constantly push towards it. And I knew that this is going to be hard to hear, and this is very hard to explain, especially on a video. But you need to have a serious conversation with them and let them know, I love you to death. I want to be with you for the rest of my life. And I want to be happy as well. And I know that if I do not pursue what I want to do, I will be miserable, which will make me miserable to be around, which will make you unhappy. And my goal is for us to be happy. But I also know that I need to take care of me first, so I can share the love and be lovable and help increase our value in our marriage. And so you need to let them know this and say, if this is your decision, for me, this was my decision. I'm not going to stop pursuing what I want to do. So if your vision is different for us for the future, and you know that you want to be somewhere else, I don't want to hold you back, but I don't want to leave. But I need you to know I'm not going to stop. And so that is so hard to explain over a camera, but you need to have that real conversation if you really feel that, because if you don't want to be in this journey 5 years in, and then all of a sudden, they're gone. Because they didn't want to go through this journey, and they're miserable. And you don't want to take someone through a journey of entrepreneurship if they didn't sign up for that, because that's selfish. So when you explain that to someone, like I just said, that's you being, in my personal opinion, I think that's more so thinking about them as well, and giving them the opportunity to really think about it. And even though deep down inside, like, it hurt me so much. Like, I was crying when I was explaining this, because it was not something, I didn't want to hear the words, I don't want to be a part of this journey. But I also knew I wanted her to be happy and successful and loved, but also have her vision become true. Because I don't want my vision not to become true, and you don't want yours. So think about your spouse before you make this decision. Learn from this video, from my experiences of leaving my job 3 times to pursue day trading and pursue a show that I have no idea if it would ever be consistent, if it would ever become something I could live on. I had no idea. So you need to communicate and constantly remember that you're in this together, and you're not in it together if you're only thinking by yourself. So good luck.